So we got a little project today. There's a guy that goes to my church that he does a lot of like the hedge trimming and that kind of stuff at the church that I mow, my church. And he does a lot of stuff at home as well. He used to work for a lot of different nurseries and landscape companies over the years, but he's having a problem with his hedge trimmers. When he'd squeeze the trigger, the blades wouldn't move back and forth, and the thing was running like crap. And so he went back to the dealer. I don't know what dealer he went to, but they pretty much were trying to tell him he needs a new set. They're outdated and this and that, and they really didn't have a solution for him to fix them. So I told him, just give them to me. I'll fix them. And let me show you what we got here. So this is them. It's the Stihl HS45. I used to have the same set. I have the bigger set now. I can't remember. I think they're 56s, HS56, 55. I don't know. But I have the bigger set, as you guys know. But anyway, so I hung them upside down for about 3 days. I hung them right here over top of this garbage can. And I sprayed them down with this stuff. This is made by Stihl. It's hedge trimmer, blade cleaner, and resin remover. This stuff is really good. Somebody got me onto that stuff years ago. And so what it does, it takes all the gunk off the blades that gets built up, especially if you're trimming anything that's like sappy, like any type of pine, arborvitae, stuff like that. It cleans all that stuff on, but it also lubricates them, so it keeps them moving nice. And so I hung them upside down and I sprayed them a couple times over a 3-day period and just let that stuff run off. And I know they're pretty black now, but they were all gunked up, chunky. They were pretty nasty. The other thing that I noticed, I pulled the plug out, and the plug is in really good shape. As far as like, it's pretty new, but it was gunked up. It was crappy. I cleaned that. I put that back in. The air filter was fine. I took all the fuel out of it. I sucked it out with the Mighty Vac there, and then I put in some of this red armor that Echo had sent me. But the other thing is, when you squeeze the trigger, let me see if you can see this. Watch this cable back there. It runs around this piece of plastic here. When I squeeze it, you see how you can see the cable pulling. I don't know if you can see that. Well, it was flipped over top of this edge and it was just dangling right through there. So when you squeezed it, it didn't really pull. It just, I mean, the cable would move, but it didn't really pull. Well, if it doesn't have the tension to pull on there, these blades aren't going to move. So I popped that back over there, and like I said, I popped that back over there on that edge. I put it back in the groove. There's a little tab right under there, and it sits in between that groove. I put it back in there, pump the fuel out, put new fuel in, clean the spark plug. And the other thing is, now you guys know, I've told you over the years, and they have this piece right here, and you can unscrew it and screw it out, and there's a screen on the other side. Those get clogged up, especially with today's fuels. There's a screen in there, and the screen just gets clogged. There's a lot of pieces of equipment where there's just 2 screws and you pull it out and it's a flat screen that sits in there. So many pieces of equipment, like I was saying, have a screen in there, and you pull the 2 screws out and you slide the flat screen out, and those get plugged up too. A lot of guys take them out, or they unscrew this one here, and they just cut the screen off the back side of it, so there's no screen. I'm not telling you to do that or not to do that. That's up to you. But a lot of guys do that because they get clogged up so bad, and then they start running like crap, or they won't run at all. So what I did was I pulled his out and I cleaned it, so now you can see right through the screen and everything looks good. So we're gonna fire this thing up, and we're gonna see if it runs well, and if these blades are gonna move. So not only do they run and run very well, but the blades move, no problem at all. And the thing still looks new. They tried to get him to buy a new set. For what? There's nothing wrong with them. They run great. So I'll give these back to him and he'll be able to get a lot more life out of these, a lot more use out of them. I think they're good to go. I would use them every day. So this just goes to show a little basic maintenance can go a long way. Now, I can't remember what I paid for mine. I want to say it was over 200 bucks. And he's had these for a few years, so I can't remember exactly what he paid. But either way, let's just say they were $200 and a new set was $200, $250, whatever. If he had to put a new spark plug in, it's a couple bucks. And a can of this stuff I think is like $10 or $12, something like that. So, you know, he could be for under $15 back up and running. I'm not going to charge him for this. I'm just going to give him back to him and here you go. But the whole point is, you know, for 10 minutes of my time and a couple bucks, these things are back up and running great, and now he can get plenty of life back out of these. He get a lot of use out of them. So versus going and buying a new set like the dealer wanted him to do. So it would have been pretty stupid to spend that money and to go and buy a whole new set when there was nothing wrong with these. So I've said it a million times over, guys. You gotta, if you're in this business, you gotta learn a little bit of basic maintenance. You gotta learn how to just do the basic maintenance on your stuff to keep them going and keep them going strong. They probably would have taken these from him and, you know, said, we'll give you 50 bucks on those or something and give you a little discount on a new set. And they'd have done that to him and turned around and resold them or whatever they would have done. I'm not saying that's what they would have done, but I know some dealers that will do that. But you know, just a little bit of basic maintenance in a few minutes can go a long way, and you're back up and running. And for him, it's just personal use, but if you're a business, you're back out to making money with them for very little cost and very little time.